Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing as the Russian Empire and we're going to be, well, conquering Western Europe, alright? So this isn't like a formidable nation this time. This was a challenge given by, I'm sorry, I still can't read the name, but yeah, this is challenge given to me. And so I decided to take it to try invade Western Europe, yeah. And of course, we're playing in the Victorian era, and I think the last time I played this was when I was playing as Prussia, and so yeah, it's been a while. And I immediately started looking around my neighbors, thinking about what my options were to who to attack. But then I remembered the challenge was specifically Western Europe, and so I had to I said, okay, I only can attack West, and so that's why I didn't go after like Scandinavia or Central Asia, which honestly would have made a little bit more sense. Not Scandinavia, I mean Central Asia mainly. So I said I decided to go against Prussia, which was honestly the obvious target for me. So the initial invasion went great because I decided to get Bavaria in on the action as well, and yeah, it went amazing because I was able to invade East Prussia, and also I was also able to attack Silesia, and soon enough, in a matter of a few turns, I was able to make it to Berlin. Of course, I encircled the city beforehand and then made it to Berlin, just like that. And the thing is, though, in this Victorian era start date, Prussia is split up into multiple pieces here and there in Germany. I'm not sure why it's like that, but I think during this time they were trying to do that whole North German Confederation, so yeah, that's there. Anyways, Bavaria finishes their war with Prussia, and however, they don't take everything in the peace deal. So I get Hanover to give me military access, and turns out they gave the Prussians military access as well. And so now I'm forced to move back and retake territory, and then before ultimately making peace, because I didn't want to go through the hassle of I was too lazy. And anyways, afterwards I invade Anhalt and take that, connecting my all the territories that I'd taken. And for the next couple of turns, I would take the time to assimilate all the provinces that I got, because that's what you need to do. Meanwhile, so yeah, this went on, right? And then I thought about my next step, which was to potentially attack. I think it was no, wait, here it was. Yes, Saxony, right. The next step was to attack Saxony, and this went pretty well because I was able to advance on all the fronts except the last province, which held out quite well, I'd say, because they even managed to counterattack, and like it took me 3 tries to finally invade them in their last province, because somehow they managed to survive a 4,000 man strong invasion, or attack, not invasion. Next thing, I went for the attack on Mecklenburg. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I went on the attack on Mecklenburg to seize Northern Europe this time. And as you can see, the thing is, I'm attacking like along the North European plain. Yeah, like the European plain, which it's been a funnel for invasions, mainly because it's flat land, right? So yeah, you can imagine it like that. So I invade, and I've essentially reached like the territories of around like East Germany right here, and I start lining troops at Hanover this time to take them over. And luckily for me, when I came to attack them, they had already declared independence from Britain, and so I did not have to deal with the British ever, so that was really lucky for me. And so yeah, it was easy enough just conquering Hanover, and I took Oldenburg because to keep the momentum, just continuing the momentum, I just took Oldenburg. So that was good. So now I was essentially on my way to completely conquer Germany. However, I decided to head on to Austria and line up troops there because I realized that relation-wise, Austria did not like me, and oh yeah, France is at war with the Ottomans. But all of a sudden, I'm attacked by the Danes, and I get annoyed at this. I mean, I'm annoyed, but so the thing is, I did not assimilate the nearby provinces yet, and so I had trouble fighting back initially. However, I was able to raise armies along and create a front line so I can fight back. And when I did that, the Danish attack fell apart, or not immediately, but still it took fighting to do so. They did send like 7,000 people, and I was just like, okay, listen, I need to put a stop to this war, and so I made peace with them. And then I took the extra troops that I got and prepared to invade Austria. So yeah, I lined up all of the borders. You know, I knew this invasion was not going to be easy because Austria was one of the great powers during this time period, and so it wouldn't be easy just invading them. And so I raised a new army, but I didn't have money, so I raised money first. And then I invaded. So, you know, the thing is though, if you look at historically speaking, Russian Austria, or the Austrian Empire, did compete for influence in the Balkans. So I guess you could say this is like, I don't know, repeat of that. But 1850 was around the time of the Crimean War. I think before that. And funny enough, before the Crimean War, Austria and the Austrians and the Russians actually had a great like they had a good like friendship going, not alliance, but friendship, right? And they had good relations with each other. But then after the Crimean War, the Russians got pissed at the Austrians because the Austrians didn't do shit. While, like, you know, before the Russians helped them put down the Hungarian revolt. And so yeah, that's okay. That's just a little historical bit. Anyways, I keep invading Austria, and thing was, they were able to break through my line, or not through, more like just get, yeah, through my line, and with like about 7,000 units, which they started spreading around to retake their land. Meanwhile, else on the other fronts, I did continue the push into Austria because I wanted to continue attacking. They, however, would continue to start taking back territory, but I had to block the provinces where they would try to attack, and yeah, I had to keep surrounding their units because I knew they're gonna spread out over and over again. So yeah, that was basically it was basically me trying to catch their units, right? And so elsewhere, I was succeeding in my invasion in terms of the southern area, right? Yes. Do I say south or do I say east? What? The Eastern Front, I guess. In Austria's perspective, this is all the Eastern Front, right? I'm talking about like the south side. Like, I've taken over Hungarian and Romanian territories, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. Over on that side, that went pretty well, and I started invading into Croatian territory soon enough. Austrian territory, on the hand, Vienna was basically taken. It was, you know, they fought hard for it, but it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, they lost. Well, not unfortunate. Fortunately for me. And however, there were 7,000 troops remaining, but they exhaust themselves. Meanwhile, the Dutch suddenly declare war on me, and I'm just like, okay, I can't deal with this. So I get the Bavarians and the Belgians to declare war on them for me instead. And meanwhile, I decide to focus almost completely, exclusively on my Austrian war because I wanted to get this over with before dealing with the Netherlands. And this war went pretty well, actually, because the Austrians were done. All I had to do was invade Dubrovnik right after this. Also, yeah, I took northern Italy as well, of course. Because the Austrians did have, like, after the history again, but after the Napoleonic Wars, the Austrians, like, retook control of northern Italy, like, they strengthened their grip, right? So, as I was saying, okay, so, see, thing is, since I'm the back to the game, okay? Since I was the Russian Empire, I was like, okay, I can continuously trade territory with the Netherlands and not bat an eye, and so I decided to completely focus on my conquest of Austria. Meanwhile, since I finished with that, I decided to form a defensive line against the Dutch, and funny enough, I formed it exactly when they decided to stop attacking, which I found kind of funny. Meanwhile, the Belgians were doing an amazing job against the Dutch. However, the Luxembourgians, as you call it, Luxembourg started attacking my provinces, and so then I decided to, like, I needed to fight back. And meanwhile, Austria got finished off, and I was able to take all provinces, so that was lucky. Now I just became like a giant green blob, just taking over all of Western Europe. You know how it is. So I started gathering all of my troops in Vienna for reorganization, And meanwhile, in the Netherlands, the Dutch had been pushed back by the Belgians, and they'd been occupied for all this time. And now I decided that it was time I put a stop to it, stop to their country that is existing. And so I started invading the Netherlands. Provinces were exchanged. However, in the end, they were completely taken over. So yeah. And the thing was, for all their hard work, the Belgians didn't get shit. So yeah, I guess it worked out for me. I took all the provinces I need to. So yeah, that worked out fine. Anyways, I then took the next few turns to assimilate the insane amount of territory that I had just gained. It took me a while to do this, all of this, all that. Also, about the challenge, I just want to say one thing. I wasn't sure when I read the challenge what he meant by Western Europe. So for this video, I decided to only go all the way until France. So I just want to let y'all know. That, okay? Just saying. Because I feel like, technically Spain is... Would Spain technically count as Southern Europe? I don't know. Anyways, so the United Kingdoms attacked me, right? And since I was, again, I told myself I'm going after Western, not Northern Europe. And so I was like, okay, I need to do this. And so I got the Danes to attack them. I got Denmark to attack them. And then I, assimilated the other territories. And then I decided that, I wouldn't really go and try to push insanely into the United Kingdoms, okay? Because I was like, okay, listen, I can't really bother with this. And so I decided to do the old Russian tactic of, using the massive amount of territory that you have, leading your opponents to overextend themselves and then pushing back. Works every time. Especially in this game when the AI, divides its forces over and over and over. So yeah. Meanwhile, so what I do is I'd essentially just keep on and on, like raising new units in Finland. I could keep this going for a long time, but could they? No. They were at war with Denmark from the other side, and so that would make it difficult for them essentially. And so right when I started pushing back and I started retaking all of my provinces, they were also pushing back. I mean, listen, it was a back and forth for a while. But once I took back all of my provinces that were rightfully mine, I decided to just make peace. And yeah, they agreed to the peace deal, of course. They were being invaded by Denmark, so it's obvious. Okay, so afterwards, I decided that I wanted to attack Bavaria, but I raise units and I wait. And yeah, I think about it, and I think, okay, wait, maybe I could attack Württemberg as well, or maybe even Belgium. So I think about what my attacks and thing is, I realized that most of my Netherlands territories had been assimilated, and so I decide to go for Belgium instead. And I see that Belgium is at war as well, so I start attacking them, and I start attacking the Netherlands. Why? Because they were occupying one province that the Netherlands owned, which was Eindhoven. And so, if I could attack both, I wouldn't have to give the province back to the Netherlands, right? So, hence, I basically just steamrolled the Belgians all the way to Luxembourg, and then took both the Dutch provinces and the Belgian provinces. And just like that, I just wiped out Belgium. And kicked the Dutch off the mainland. So now all the Netherlands have is Indonesia. So I guess they can just chill there, chill in Bali, which actually doesn't sound so bad. I don't know why. Anyways, I decided to invade Bavaria. This invasion, just because of how the borders were, I attacked from so many sides. It was insane. It was a bloodbath, right? So in the north, I was able to take most of the territories. It was pretty easy. In the south, however, I realized that their capital was there, and so they'd put up a fight, definitely. And they did, which in fact they managed to stop one of my attacks, but I pushed back, and they even pushed back. So the thing is, they started retaking territory, and it was an exchange. I basically took their capital and then held on to that. I didn't give it back, or I didn't move those troops. I instead got troops around them to surround them, and then finally they were down to like one last province, and that was it. But turns out they had also had territories in northern Italy, and so I decided I'll take these as well. Because technically I think does the North Italian plain count as Western Europe? I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, man. For this challenge, I did that, okay. But Italy, I did not invade Italy, okay, because again, that's Southern Europe. Like North, I'm just giving an exception for North Italian plain, you know. So, anyways, I decide to invade the remaining German states, which I think, you know, I was just like, okay, I can do this all at once. I don't need to even wait. But turns out they'd puppeted Prussia, and so I had to surround Prussia as Prussian territory as well. But turns out Mainz invaded them, and then Mainz puppeted Prussia, and Württemberg kept their puppet. Never mind. Sorry, my bad. But I decided to invade Württemberg and Mainz. Württemberg and Prussia at the same time. So yeah, that went well, and also Mainz. So again, I went after all the German states because I could. Why not? And so Prussia and Württemberg did survive. They're just barely on one province, bro. They're just running around shit. And so Württemberg dies in the Netherlands, and meanwhile Mainz was completely surrounded on all sides, and I converged and destroyed them. So yeah, that went super great. So now all of Germany was in my hands, and I assimilated those provinces, of course, as usual. And now I looked to France, because France was the last opponent left, besides, of course, Switzerland. Okay, that's for, but initially, so I didn't really think about them, so I sort of just started raising troops, and no, not raising, organizing my troops along the French border, because honestly, I didn't even need to hold back. And so now, yeah, okay, I'm getting distracted. But Monaco declared war on me, and so I got rid of them. Technically counts as Western, do they? I don't know. But I took them over regardless. Meanwhile, I decided to invade the Swiss as well. Because, you know, they had attacked me before, and also since if I'm considering the North Italian plain as Western Europe, I should technically count Switzerland in on that as well. And so I declare war on Switzerland, attack from all sides, including their Italian territories. And this war goes pretty well. I mean, you'd expect resistance from the Swiss. They do give it, but of course, overwhelming numbers in this game wins. Meanwhile, Sardinia is there, but I just take their territory from an ultimatum. I don't even bother invading them, and they accept. Of course, they do, because of course, who the hell would not be scared of these, like, you know, I mean, imagine you're Sardinia for me, will you? And then you see, like, your neighbor Switzerland to the north just get absolutely obliterated. I mean, makes sense. I think anyone would be concerned. Anyways, I raised some more troops for the final showdown in Paris. Like, okay, raised some more troops for the final showdown in Paris. But then I remember Holstein. I felt like I needed to take Holstein. Like Denmark, okay, Denmark you can say Northern Europe, that's fine. But Holstein, aren't they like, they're like, I mean, you could consider them part of Germany, right? The German Empire was a part of the German Empire. So technically I took it over just because. And then I decided to use those troops, invade France, and finally the final showdown began in France. And so it began with a massive frontal attack. And you know, if we're going canonically, like, and if we're actually gonna be role playing here, you could say, oh, this is a revenge for the Napoleonic Wars, you know, like getting back at them, because this is 1865. So yeah, I guess that works. So I attack across the whole front. However, they are able to stop me in like the center and Lyon. Meanwhile, in the north, I just continue pushing onto Paris. I mean, actually, technically speaking, if we're going by timeline, like the actual game timeline, this would be the second time invading Paris as the Russians, because they did invade Paris during the Napoleonic Wars, like when it ended. Actually, no, yeah, they did. But yeah, so that went down, and the French actually did hold Paris for a while, even though I passed by. They did manage to take it back. However, I did pull some troops back as well to deal with the French. And so, yeah, soon enough, they were completely surrounded, and, like, their forces were completely wiped out. And after that, most of my troops continued on to push, whereas some, went back to chase the remaining French forces. By this point, I had reached like the south of France, all the way to like Spain. So yeah, all the way to the border with Spain. So yeah, at this point, the war was over. I had reached, this is called Brest, right? Like the westernmost point of France. Yeah, okay. And Brittany, Brittany, right. And the French did try to send like a couple naval invasions. One which actually got me by surprise was the one in the north, which actually, I didn't even see that one coming. But the one in the south, I saw it arriving, and I was able to move troops in time to block it. Meanwhile, the one in the north kind of prevented me from annexing the country for a while, but I dealt with that fast enough. And just like that, French was done. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.